Okay, welcome to the coaching chat today, you guys. I am excited about just we're finishing up a whole series that we got started on how to turn your full-time income or part-time income into a full-time income. And if you guys remember, we're going to kind of recap what we've talked about already. First, we wanted to start with the end in mind, know where we want to go. What is it that we want out of this business from an income standpoint, from a position standpoint, just for what we want personally. So hopefully, if you've not done that by now, I want you literally to write down on a piece of paper, not just in your mind, but literally on a piece of paper, what your end goal is and what you want to see. The second thing we talked about was to create a plan, map it out. We've been gifted by Don Rassman with those position worksheets. And we talked about if you don't have your position worksheet printed out, written all over, scribbled on, then I'm going to challenge you guys to do that second piece in this puzzle. So we've got an end game of where we want to go. Then we've got a mapped out plan for our next position. And then thirdly, we talked about in order for us to scale to the level that we want to go, and I'm hoping if you guys are on this call, everyone on this call wants to go to all the way to National Marketing Director and beyond. So if that is the case, we have to. It is paramount that we have systems in place to help us do that. So what I want you to do is, one, write down your ultimate goal from a income standpoint and a position standpoint. Number two, have your next position worksheet printed out. Number three, and I'm going to scroll up here in a minute and we're going to look at those systems, but I want you to take a look and say, okay, which of these do I truly not have a system? Or I may think I have a system, but if you're not implementing it on a daily basis, then you don't have a system. So we're going to look at those systems, and I want to challenge you guys to put in the notes. You know how you can, on our call, you can go to the notes section or the text section, and I want you to text me which of the systems you feel like we need to hone in on. If there's a system you don't have, or maybe a system you have, but it's not working for you. And then step 4 is what we're going to talk about today. We got to take massive action. Okay, so let me scroll up through here to that was part 1. That was part 2. And here's the one I wanted to camp out, which was last Monday's, which these are the 8 systems. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, good. Which of those? We talked about time management. If you don't have some way to track your time, then I'm going to challenge you and triple and double challenge you. We have to track our time. We talked about a system from a goal achievement, and we already mentioned printing out your worksheet, putting those names on it as you bring on team members, as you bring on customers, tracking your achievement, prospecting, either using Memory Jogger or Teamsy or a spreadsheet. Somehow, some way, you've got to be tracking your prospect and have a system. We talked about thought management and continuing to have ideas and verbiage in our heads rolling around. So as we're talking to people, and kudos to everyone who's on this call, because what happens is I find myself personally, things I've shared with you guys, it's like rolling around in my head, and I turn around and am able to really spit it out much quicker than if I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what do I need to share with this person or that person? So one way I do it, and I want to hear from you guys as well, is every Monday I go to that recordings Facebook page and I just listen to 2 or 3, and I have 2 or 3 things to share with people. And I got to say this doctor who I'm going to go see as soon as we get off this call, because I had listened to I forget her last name, the one on the lupus, because I had just listened to her 15-minute video, it literally opened the door for me to begin having conversations with this doctor, because he said to me, have you had anybody that you know of that's had great results with systemic inflammation? Well, obviously I knew Karen Farrell, and then I had just listened to Rose video as well. And I said, I've got 2 amazing stories to share with you right off the bat. So I'm here to tell you, somehow, some way, have new information to share, because it gets me excited. And people can hear in our excitement when we've got new, fresh information that we want to share with them. All right, have a way to really put into practice and have a system for customer acquisition, whether that be simply writing down a hot hands list every Monday, working through Teamsy. The system really doesn't matter as long as you have a system and that system is working for you. It can be as sophisticated or as simple as you want it to be. You just better have a system and use it if you want to really scale and grow your business. How about team building? Do you have a true system for building your team? I think being on this call and being reminded of it on a weekly basis is a system that keeps that top of mind. We also have a team website, but how are you developing your team, and are you connecting with them at least on a weekly basis? And are you pointing them to tools and trainings and really holding them accountable to helping them reach their goals? As upline, that's our responsibility. What I want you guys to do is really begin taking ownership of your team and making sure your team is developing and growing and hitting their goals and being part of this coaching chat. And then lastly, leadership development. We got several people going through the Brave Leaders. Being on this coaching chat as a way to develop leaders, but have a particular system that you're tracking your people, and you know when their goal is to hit that next level, and you're like locking arms and moving forward with them. And then lastly, accountability. Is this chat? Oh, we were going to break up in groups of 3, weren't we? Okay. I fell short on that. I got to make a note because I'm going to see if somebody will take, hold on, groups of 3. Okay. We got to break up into groups of 3 so that we can really kind of hold each other accountable to what we say we want to do with this business. So put in the notes if one of these systems you feel like, you know what, I feel like I need a better system than what I have. And we can kind of hone in on that system. Okay, so today we're talking about taking massive action. So in order to scale our businesses from a part-time income to a full-time income, activity is how it's going to happen. Massive action. You know, a lot of times when I have someone say, I just can't hit that next level, when we really dial down and start talking about how much time they're spending, a lot of times what I get back is, how many people did you talk to last week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And what I start getting back is, well, I talked to one person, you know, I may have spent a half hour. What I think we don't realize, and I'm here to tell you 20 years in, this business is work. And if you really want to take it to sales coordinator, senior sales coordinator, qualifying sales coordinator, NMD, if you really want to get up into those leadership positions, it takes massive action on our part. The first block there you see, talks about consistency trumps intensity every time. Literally work in this business every day, and I'm not saying you got to work it 8 hours a day, but having at least, 1 power hour a day. And I'd encourage, if you can do 2, maybe 1, if you work maybe 1 in the morning on your way to work or get up early, 1 in the afternoon or evening when you get home from work. But literally touching this business every single day will make all the difference in the world between somebody who was just doing this kind of as a hobby and someone who really wants to turn this into a full-time income. And I'd rather have someone who will consistently give 1 power hour a day than someone who will work it like a crazy person for a week and then not touch it for 2 weeks. Because what happens is you lose that momentum. So how are you holding yourself accountable to consistently work this business every day? So write that question down. How am I holding myself accountable to consistently work this business every single day? And if you don't have an answer, then let's talk about figuring out a system to help you, a checks and balance to help you really do that every single day. Even last week, I feel like I was out of pocket all last week. I was on a cruise with my husband's business. But I'm here to tell you, every day I got names of new people I want to talk to about the business. So I came home with literally a whole new memory jogger list. So even when you're out of your normal routine, I'm going to challenge y'all to keep that top of mind of consistently working it every day. It may look a little different when you're traveling or if you're working, but figure out a way to be consistent. Okay, that second point is focus on the activities, not the results. I know a lot of times people get discouraged, like they don't see the results that they expect to see in for the time that they've invested. And I'm here to tell you, this is what makes all the difference in the world for someone who's doing it like a hobby and somebody who's doing it literally to build and grow an empire. And it is focusing on the activities and not worrying about the results. I promise you, the results will come. I mean, I probably went 2 months without a new distributor, and this January I got 4 new distributors in 1 month. So I'm here to tell you that it wasn't that all my hard work in November and December wasn't paying off. And I could have said, I'm getting no results. I'm really focusing on new distributors. But what happens is, I just caught myself back up in January because all those 2 months I was working, our activity doesn't go in vain. It will produce results, not always when we think they'll come about, but I'm telling you, you take that consistency, multiply that by your activity, and I promise, will begin to generate momentum. And the momentum sometimes will go like this, but do not stop with consistently being actively working the business. The third block there is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. The minute and I love those of you guys who are on our Millionaire Book Club, we're reading Everything is Figure Outable. It's a great book, and it's reminded me that having that growth mindset, and she talked about never using the word can't, that you always replace it with the word won't. Can't turns us into victims, and we're not when it comes to this business. We're all on the same playing ground. So what happens is, if we switch that word can't to won't, I won't do this, I won't do that. What we're doing then is we're consciously making a choice versus feeling like we're a victim. And when we're consciously making a choice, we have that ability to make that shift in mindset and move it from a fixed mindset. Well, I just can't seem to get any distributors. I can't. Or I won't. What if we switch that to won't? It makes me say, oh, yes, I will. I am going to do it. And it totally changes how I feel, how I carry myself, it moves me into a growth mindset and a growth mentality. So every time the word can't comes out of your mouth, I'm going to challenge you to change it with won't. And I tell you, it'll help you look at it in a different mindset and just look at it totally different. So really focus on that growth mindset and constantly reading, listening to Voxers, listening to podcasts, Zoom calls, to really explode our growth mindset, because what happens is it gets us excited and people feel that. I can't wait to go talk to this doctor today. I mean, that just gets me fired up knowing what he's about to know and what I'm about to share with him gets me fired up. And so if I'm not pouring into myself, I've got nothing to share with people. So be a person who's constantly developing and growing yourself. And I promise you will attract people to you. That's what I love being around people who have just read a new book, just listened to a new podcast, just listened to a new Zoom or a training, or I tell you what, it just gets me, they get me fired up. Because that growth mindset exudes from people. And then lastly, implement your systems. Go back over these 8 systems and give yourself a grade, A, B, or C. If you don't have an A in that area, then figure out a way to create a system that's going to resonate and work for you. We all don't have to be using the same system, but we all have to be using a system if we really want to build and grow into the leaders I know everybody on this call is capable of being. So implement your systems. Of those 8 systems, which ones aren't getting implemented right now? And let's figure out a way to ensure that we are doing everything possible to turn our part-time income into full-time income. All right, I am going to stop the recording now.